It's Wednesday afternoon and time for us to turn our attention to legal matters. This is part of our commitment to putting Southeast Texas first when we get to Ask the Judge and get answers to some of your questions. We are joined today by Judge Gordon Freeze from the 317th Civil District Court there in Jefferson County. Judge, how are you?
I'm good. How about you, Jordan?
Doing well. Appreciate you making time for us. This first question from Audrey, one of our viewers, who says, if you hire a moving company that said they're insured and bonded, but you weren't asked to sign any papers for the job, are they responsible for items even if they break or scratch them? For example, they broke a bed and scratched a new washer. They say they aren't to blame, and unfortunately this person says, I don't have any before pictures. Are they still responsible for my items?
You know, I think even without a signed agreement, the moving company may potentially be responsible for any damages they caused. If they are not accepting responsibility right now, I think Audrey's option would be to file a case in small claims court. However, it would be up to her to prove by a preponderance of the evidence that the moving company caused the damages that she's claiming. If she can do that, and she can testify and she can say what the condition of the property was before, she might be able to convince a judge or a jury in small claims court that the moving company is at fault. If she's able to get a judgment, she would then have a claim potentially against the moving company's insurance policy or bond, but she's got to get that judgment first.
And does she need a lawyer to do all this?
No, not necessarily. Depending on the amount of the damages, this sounds like a perfect candidate for a small claims case.
All right. Google's your friend, Audrey. Maybe you can get some help there. All right, this second question is from Boyd, who has a work question. He says, I got hurt on a construction site, but I wasn't employed by the company that owned that property. Can I sue them, or does workers' comp limit this?
You know, I'm going to piggyback on the last one where you asked if she needed a lawyer, and this one I will say, I think Boyd definitely needs to consult a lawyer. The best answer I can give him is, you know, it's the standard, it depends. If his employer has workers' comp insurance, he is most likely precluded from suing his employer. As to the property owner, he may have an independent cause of action against them for negligence or failure to maintain a safe work site. But often in those comp agreements, there are various agreements and subrogation interest in there that may or may not affect his ability to sue. These are very complex issues, and I would definitely recommend that he reach out to an experienced, competent personal injury attorney to determine what his rights and options are.
Many of them here in the 409, so yeah, I'm sure there's some options
there are.
out there. All right, this final question, this person says, CPS showed up at my house because a neighbor made a report, and they wanted to come in and look around, but had no warrant. What are my rights? Am I required to let them in?
You know, similar to a criminal case, you are not required to let them in or cooperate. However, depending on the actual facts and circumstances of that case, CPS can file a petition and ask a court to enter an order that would require them to participate in that investigation or in some potential services. Depending on the severity of the case, they could also ask for the court to order a removal of those children pending a temporary hearing. Now, I don't, again, without knowing the facts and circumstances and how severe this would be, that is a pretty, you know, significant option on CPS's part. But all that to say, no, she's not required to cooperate right off the bat, but CPS does have some options available to them in court, depending on the severity and the nature of the case.
Judge, we will leave it there this Wednesday. We thank you so much for your time.
All right, thank you very much, Jordan. Good to see you.
Some good insights. If you've got questions for the judge, go to 12newsnow.com/askthejudge, and there's a form right there.